Bitcoin has a huge problem. There's not enough to go around. Some of these numbers are absolutely nuts that we're going to show, showing why I am so bullish for Bitcoin in the next bull run. Based on what we're seeing right now, the price is going to go absolutely parabolic, and I've been saying this throughout the entire bear market, that it's just a matter of time. We're going to go parabolic. I talked about how Bitcoin could go up 5x, 10x, 20x in a video before. It was on my home screen for the longest time. But I want to show you why we're pushing up right now. We just hit 50,000. We're pumping up pretty well today, up 3.5%. This is after we were just at 40,000 just really recently. I want to talk about that. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video. There are also a lot of other cryptocurrencies pumping up here today. Ethereum up significantly. Solana up a little bit, 1.4% at the $110 mark. We'll talk about what's going to happen next too, whether this is going to continue to happen. But I do want to say I have bought a significant amount of a new cryptocurrency. I talked about that on my Patreon. I talked and gave them early access to the video explaining why I did that. I also did that with a stock recently too. I bought a really significant portion of a stock and it's up like 3% here today. It was up 4 or 5% the other day. So if you want information like that, there's a link to my Patreon underneath the video. There's also a link to HGAaccess where you can get information from myself and others. We do live streams on there as well. We're about to schedule the next one. As you can see here, Bitcoin is racing up. Another really green day, going from 48,000, actually under 48 at one point today, all the way up over 50,000. So we're breaking this previous high that was right at like 49,000, smashed through it. We're still sitting like right below or right at 50,000 right now. Obviously, this is a pretty big point to be at, a pretty key psychological level. And this is something that I talked about that I think we could break out to the upside. I've said this in a handful of videos, but we had this inverse head and shoulders and then big, massive move out. You can also see it here. So we created a TradingView indicator, which is super helpful for trading and for long-term buy and hold. But you can see on the daily, bullish momentum, maybe I should buy. And then boom, 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 boom. It continues to move up. So bullish momentum, typically a good time to be buying in, a good time to be trading if you are a trader. Now, maybe you just want dollar cost average. Dollar cost average, dollar cost average, dollar cost average. It also has DCA outs as well. We built this just basically so that way we can use it instead of having the normal human psychology of, the market's down, maybe I should just hold off. No, you want to be dollar cost averaging, and then you want to know if you are a trader, you want to know when there's bullish momentum. Well, if I went long here, wow, you could have made a ton of money here. Same thing here. If you had known, or if you had looked and seen, bullish momentum, big move up, that could be super useful. You can use it for other assets too, not just Bitcoin, but you can use it for any asset you want. You can use it for different time frames too. I'll be talking about this a little bit more soon because I think it's really helpful, and it just depends how you want to use it. Like here, you can see bearish momentum. Okay, well, maybe I don't want to go into a long because boom, it went down. Same thing here. Maybe I don't want to go into a long during bearish momentum because boom, it went down. But at the same time, it's saying dollar cost average. Like, hey, it flashed DCA and then it went back up, right? And then it flashed DCA and then big move up. And you can move it to different time frames. So basically how I'm going to use this, and then we'll get into some of the numbers here, but I think this is helpful, so I wanted to talk about it. How I'm going to use this is basically I am only using the dollar cost average in. I'm not putting the dollar cost average out. There's a way to turn it off, so you just go over to settings and then you just go to bullish only, but you can have bearish. But right now I'm using bullish only because I think Bitcoin's going to go up a lot over the next year or two. So I'm not really looking to take profits right now. So I'm just watching this. And then when we get higher to the point where I do want a dollar cost average out, I'll put this back on and then I'll say, okay, well, we made a big pump. Maybe I want to take a little bit of profit, something like that. But I do think that this bullish and bearish momentum is really useful for trading as well. It looks at a bunch of different indicators, a bunch of different information in case you want to trade. There is a link to it underneath the video with the discount code too. But I just wanted to show you this and take a look at the bullish momentum here, as you can see. And why are we so bullish? Well, we have a lot of volume going into ETFs. Huge day for Bitcoin ETFs as IBIT passes 500 million in volume by noon Eastern time, I'm assuming. This is a lot of volume. You can see IBIT is number 12 in terms of volume of all 3,000 plus ETFs. And it's not like this is the first day and there's a bunch of pent up demand. No, we've been trading this for a month and it's still up towards the top. A lot of inflows. And it's not just IBIT. It's not just the Bitcoin ETFs. Crypto related stocks are pumping as well today. And I think my premise or my theory still stands true. The one that I presented last week, that there are entities that can't buy Bitcoin ETFs, so they buy miners instead. They buy MicroStrategy. They buy all these crypto-related stocks because it's past their compliance department. So if you can't buy IBIT, if you can't buy Fidelity yet, well, you go buy MicroStrategy. And that's why MicroStrategy is up 10% today, while Bitcoin is up 3.5%. Now, I will say part of this too is that we didn't have trading over the weekend, but we saw this last week where there are massive moves on these miners and MicroStrategy. And yet Bitcoin was only up a couple percent, right? We also have no retail excitement. Sure, there are some people that were getting excited ahead of the ETF. I had some people asking me how to buy Bitcoin. But now pretty much nothing. Like Bitcoin started to spike up, but it's 1/4, 1/3 maybe the search volume that we had during the last bull market. Crypto is basically nothing. It's basically completely flat. Now, I think crypto will come back after people see Bitcoin moving up. They'll look at other cryptos that they want to buy and then ape into those. Dominance is still moving up on Bitcoin for the most part. But yeah, there's just a lot of inflows. And this is the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks. This doesn't even account for today, which is probably going to be another massive day. And the problem is there's just not much Bitcoin. That's the problem. ETFs are buying up 12.5x more Bitcoin per day than the daily issuance. And this is the first cycle where we actually saw less Bitcoin on exchanges. This has never happened before. Like we saw this in the last cycle where it started to move down a little bit, but now we're going to have this cut where there's a massive amount of demand and there's less Bitcoin than ever. This was the distribution phase, where there's just a lot of Bitcoin. Even though the price was going up, there's just so much Bitcoin being mined that there's more and more available to buy. Now we went down for a cycle and we have this new massive demand. Keep in mind that 93.4% of all Bitcoin is mined. There's barely any Bitcoin that's going to come onto the markets during this next cycle. I know we talk about it, I know it, but think about this for a second. There's only 6.5% of Bitcoin left ever to be mined. I would be surprised if in this cycle or the next cycle, we actually have less Bitcoin as time goes on, like actual Bitcoin that can be held because people lose it. So there's 19.6 million Bitcoin already mined. There's 6.5% left. And Bitcoin's price has gone up 5 million% or something like that. Like if I had this asset and I said, there's pretty much none of it left. There's barely any of it left. We've distributed a lot of it over the last 10 years and the price has still gone up exponentially. Do you want to buy it? You probably really consider. I mean, think about this. Bitcoin went from 10 cents up to 50,000 and that's when most of the supply came to the market. Like they were just dumping crypto on the market, miners dumping to buy more miners and stuff like that. Now there's barely anything. There's barely any Bitcoin to be bought. Just the ETFs alone are swallowing up 10x times, 12x times more Bitcoin than we're actually is actually becoming available. This doesn't account for pensions, sovereign wealth funds. This doesn't account for countries. This doesn't account for wealthy individuals. This doesn't account for the normal person that just wants to buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. This is just the ETFs. So there's really no Bitcoin left. I know this is some stuff that we've talked about before, but it's so important to reiterate how crazy this is. Even the haters are now talking about Bitcoin. Basically, they say that they think that the halving event is priced in, right, based on the cost of halving. But they've come a long way in that they're saying Bitcoin is backed, coming from saying Bitcoin is backed by nothing to now saying that's a commodity with an energy-backed production cost. Yeah, so they even think that there's something backing Bitcoin. It's not just Fugazi. It is backed by electricity. Now, of course, this will be changed at some point. That there are going to be people that say that's backed by nothing, or they're going to say one day that's backed by all the miners or the network, and then the next day they're going to say it's worthless. People go back and forth, as you know. Jim Cramer goes back and forth every single day. In case you want to trade cryptocurrency, there is this link to Margex underneath the video as well. I know I talk about it a lot, but it's a pretty useful tool to make some gains. I do have some longs open as well. Also, something that we just unveiled was this algo. I do think it's really helpful. There is a promo code underneath the video, and I brought this up in one other video in case you need help on your taxes. I'm working with the founder of this company, BCM. I'm an owner now too. Really good guy, really smart guy, the guy that started this. And we go through and look at the wallets you send us, and we manually go through every single transaction in there. Basically, I just had found that there are a lot of problems when I was working with tax companies in the past with crypto. Either the wallets didn't connect or it was wrong. Some wallets connect, some don't. So it was basically more work than doing nothing or doing it all manually. It was more work. So we set this up where we have people literally go through, they look at your gas fees because that's huge. So many people don't account for gas fees. We saw someone that was going to report that they made $4,000, but they actually spent $10,000 on gas fees. So they actually lost money. They were able to take a loss from this, which gives them money back in their pocket when they were going to pay taxes on the gains when they didn't have to. We account for rug pulls, we account for airdrops. So definitely check this out underneath the video in case you want help on your taxes. Now it is a higher ticket item because we do it manually. We don't have you plug in your information, then half-ass create some algorithm to try to give you your information. No, and it depends on how many transactions you have as well. But we have been able to save people money on this. So definitely check out this link underneath the video. We can work with a bunch of different wallets. So definitely check this out along with a link to HGAlgo and all the other stuff as well. Appreciate you guys watching. I will continue to be making videos for you here. And sorry if there were like a handful of promotions in this. It's just that some of these are brand new, like BCM and HGAlgo, and I wanted to make sure you understood what they were for. And yeah, I'll be using them a little bit more in the future, a little bit more organically. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next